How would you like to warm up like the pros, to really learn how to get your strokes dialed in the first 5 minutes of your practice? Well, I've got a 5-step formula that's going to help you today. My name is Jeff Salzenstein. I'm the founder of Tennis Evolution, one of the leading online tennis instruction websites in the world. And I'm coming out of retirement. Well, not really. I'm actually on the court in this lesson hitting with one of my students. He happens to be 16 years old. He's gunning to play Division III tennis, college tennis, in a couple of years. I think it's going to be a stretch for him to get to Division I. But in today's lesson, we're going to focus on me, the coach, hitting some balls. Now, I haven't been hitting a lot, but I am hopefully going to be hitting more. And I'm going to show you 5 things that I'm focusing on in this particular practice when I warm up. Now, number 1, what I want you to notice is in the beginning, I am focusing on short court. So I'm just behind the service line and I am getting some feel. I'm working on feel. Okay, we're not hitting the ball hard, just feeling the ball, clearing the net. Excuse me. So that's step number 1. Start with short court and really focus on developing feel. Step number 2, and I want you to notice what I do with my first move here on my forehand. So every time the ball comes to my forehand or my backhand, look at that first move. So the racket preparation right there. Three backhands in a row there. Now I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I hit 4 in a row, 5 in a row. Now that move right there, that first move that I want to talk about, look at my off arm, okay? You can see it pulling across my body. I see a lot of players not doing this. So I'm really focusing on having a great first move. So that's step number 2. I focus on making a good first move on my forehand and my backhand. If we go back to the backhand again, you'll see that when I take the racket back, right when I see the ball crossing the net, I'm getting my racket in position right here. Okay, I'm making a first move. All right. Now, that's step number 2. Okay, so what's step number 3? It's creating space. So by using a good off arm, I'm able to create more space away from the ball. Look where I'm making contact. My arm is slightly bent, but most players, they're in here when they're making contact. So throughout this entire warm-up, if I go back to the beginning here, or even if I go back into this part, like you'll notice the space that's created. Okay, look at where my racket is. I make that move and I create that space. And also you can notice how the racket is staying on the left side of the body. It's not crossing over. I used to have a little tail where the backswing would come across the halfway point. If I drew a straight line down the halfway point of my body, it would come across. So I've been working on this now that I'm a coach, but I want you to see the space there. Yes, my arm is bent, but I have space away from the ball. Okay. So that's step number 3. Even there, when I go to hit my backhand, I'm trying to create some space. Now I can see here I could actually relax my hands a little bit more, especially my top hand, my right hand as a lefty. Okay, that's something I can work on the next time I go out on the court. But it's creating that space away from the ball. Again, if we go back and look at a couple forehands, that space is there. So that helps me create more extension. Okay, now the 4th thing that I want you to see right now is that we're focusing on the finish. I'm obsessed with the finish, as you know. Look at what I do with my finish. Look at where I'm catching the racket. My hand is way out here. I'm catching the racket up into the side of my body, my shoulders coming through. Most players don't do this when they warm up. This gets you exaggerating. This gets you extending. So I'm extending, but I'm also playing short court, right? I'm not just pulling off the ball quickly to get the ball up and down inside the service box. I'm working on a full swing, even just behind the service line, okay? Now, what do you think step 5 is? Now, except for those 4 or 5 backhands that I hit in a row, notice how for the most part, I'm moving a little bit to my right to get more forehands. So I'm training myself to move to the right to hit forehands. Right there, see that? I could have maybe hit a backhand there. But notice how I see the ball come and I do a little shuffle. See how I shuffle out of the way of the ball? I don't turn sideways there. I shuffle out of the way of the ball and I move to my right. Now, like I showed you before, there was a section here where I hit 4 or 5 backhands in a row where I moved to the left. I just did that for a short stretch to hit some backhands, to get used to hitting backhands because I was hitting all forehands. But generally, I'm going to move to my right to hit more forehands, to train myself on that inside out and inside in forehand, to train the right footwork. So I'm already thinking about what's going to be happening when I play a match, okay? On these right here, normally I'd move for a forehand, but again, I decided in this moment to hit more backhands because I hadn't hit any yet. For the most part, however, I am always going to look for forehands in that part of the court right there. I'm going to get around the ball and hit forehands. Now, another thing you might have noticed so far is that I'm not really split stepping. I think I could be split stepping more, but you'll see that the pros a lot of times don't exaggerate their split step when they're warming up. They're pretty flat-footed, especially in short court. If you really want to work harder and get your cardio up and train your split step, you need to be splitting even in short court. I was being lazy. I was being the lazy coach here. So for those of you who noticed that, I just want you to know that if I would have been split stepping on every ball, I'd probably be exhausted after 5 or 6 balls, okay? So I need to pace myself. I stand a little flat-footed, but I'm still working on my techniques. So remember, step 1 is to start with short court. Step 2 is to focus on a good first move on your forehand and backhand. Step 3, and related to the first move, is creating great space away from the ball. Step 4 is having an awesome finish with extension, and step 5 is looking for forehands. Now, if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, share it with others. We want to make shareable content so that other players can get better. These 5 steps are going to help you become a better tennis player. I have absolute certainty around that. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you turn on your notifications. And before we go today, I have a free gift. Inside our Tennis Evolution app, I'm giving a free instructional course. So you can download our free app, get access to this free course, lessons on the serve, the forehand, strategy, singles and doubles strategy, footwork. It's all inside the Tennis Evolution app, and it's going to make your learning faster because it's like having me as your coach in your pocket. I'm here to help. This is Jeff Salzenstein, and thanks for tuning in today.